Hi, this is Conrad Zimmerman with FistShark Marketing. If you're into our show, we hope you'll consider supporting us with a small monthly contribution through Patreon. For less than the price of admission to a donkey show, you can help us conceive acts of equally senseless depravity. Just visit patreon.com/FistShark or click the big Patreon button at fistshark.com for more information. And thanks for listening. Great news, guys. We found out who is going to be the roast candidate this year.
Oh, who?
For the big Hollywood roast. It's John Stamos.
Really?
Oh, that's wonderful for him. Well, wonderful for him in a way. It's prestigious, I feel. But
no, I think it's prestigious. I mean, and really, when you're at the point in your career that John Stamos is, I mean, it's the time, right? That's really when you want to get the roast and the sort of bump to your popularity that results from it.
I'm just glad that it's finally one of our clients. I mean, God, it's been like, what, 3-4 years since we've had a roast?
I know. We are going to get so much work out of this one. John's not super thrilled about it.
No?
Well, I mean, he'll come around. Right now, he's just kind of uncomfortable with, the process, and, he has some reservations. It's uncomfortable, right? I mean, to be there and have all that attention focused on you. But, it's the way it is. He, like everyone, knows that these things have to be done. It's tradition.
That's really the issue. I mean, no one wants to be roasted, especially if they get excited and think it's the Comedy Central thing,
right?
And they get a bit excited, and then they get the summons that just says it's time for your roast, and then they inquire a little bit and find out that the wax seal that's on that envelope means something entirely different. That it's not a Comedy Central thing, and then most of them then come around to it and just really accept that they're going to be roasted with a quiet dignity. And I feel that's the important thing here, is dignity. Always dignity.
Like I say, he's going to be fine. He hasn't made an effort to flee his home yet.
That was a shame. That was a shame when Dee Snider attempted that.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate, because then
they caught him. Yeah, they caught him. Dog the Bounty Hunter, he always gets his man. That's what I like about him. Right,
but it just makes the whole process so much harder.
Yes.
Because the preparation is intense.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be there. We'll be there to guide John through the whole process.
We'll guide him. We'll take him on a tour of the studio, where it'll be filmed. I like to personally let them spend about 5 or 10 minutes alone with the oven, just to get to know it. And I feel once they've met the oven, a lot of them just get a real sense of inner peace, a real calm about the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's acceptance is what it is, because everybody knows that this is it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's the dignified way to cap off a successful career.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're handling Stamos this year.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these you've done. I've done a few. Do always be wary of his psychological state at the time. If he's really feeling confident and comfortable, take him into the kitchen. Show Anthony Bourdain chopping up the carrots and the potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what really helped with my last client, and granted this was a while ago, but showing them kind of the preparation eases them surprisingly, and even just making sure that their last wishes are taken care of, whether that's seasoning or what the attendees will be drinking. I mean, it really does help calm them down.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I had Ace of Base, I got all their affairs in order, contacted the families, let them know what was up. With the violinist from the Cause, I buried the violin where she wanted in the Sacred Grove. It was a very beautiful moment. The rest of the Cause were there with her the whole time. held her hand as she was wheeled into the oven. It was a beautiful moment.
I don't think I'm ever going to have one of these that goes better than it did with Richard Dreyfuss. I mean, he was just a professional through and through. He got his notification and started taking celery baths at night.
That's good.
And
when they make it easy on the others, you know.
Yeah, because it's so much work.
Cooking a celebrity isn't easy.
No. And I mean, there's so many factors to keep in mind. I mean, age, physical fitness. I mean, for God's sake.
How gamey the meat's gonna be.
Chris Farley was just, there was hardly any actual meat in the end on Farley, which was but the marbling was fantastic. But, in order to cook that so it doesn't just feel like a soggy mess, that's a challenge. And when they prepare, when the celebrity is there with you for the roast and doing everything they can to make it easier on the chef, it's just a better experience for everyone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'm not expecting that from Stamos. I'm just grateful that he will already be greased, basically. There's not going to be any need for oil in the pan where Stamos is concerned, which is nice. Anyway, we're in the process of drafting up the last will and testament. Mm-hmm. He will, as is the custom, of course, be giving his entire estate over to the practitioners, which we don't deal with them at all, right?
No.
Typically not. No.
Okay. All right. Now, I've always wondered who actually organizes and chooses the person to be roasted.
Well, that is unusual. We don't quite know. I mean, the system has been in place long before us.
Right. Well, this goes back to the studio system, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's permeated the entertainment industry for long before FistShark was around. One of the first things I learned when I entered the world of PR is, this is what actually happened to Elvis, and it took 3 days to cook that fucker. So, it is a mysterious thing, but no one's questioned it because clearly, whenever this was set up, there was an authority in place. There's no clue on the coat of arms that's pressed into the seal of the envelope. We've actually had scientists look at the paper, at the ink, and there's no trace. The ink actually is unrecognizable. It doesn't even seem to be any chemical compound that a human has made. So I don't worry about it, to be honest.
I mean, Conrad, you just want to make sure that Stamos actually comes prepared. That's one thing that I've learned is when they come, just dressed normally in normal everyday clothes, it's somehow harder for them, to get into the basting mode. You'll just want to prepare that bath for him in advance. It's also just awkward for the people watching.
Yeah,
to have to see that breakdown.
It is probably best he comes in a kind of foil diaper of sorts, rather than have them, cut the clothes off and put one on him.
He's still a fine physical specimen, frankly. So, I don't think there will be any shame or concern where that is. I think
No, they have him, nude, foiled, walking out with his head held high. That's how the world wants to remember John Stamos. Not mewling as he's stripped bare before us, clad in the utensils of death and fed to a gigantic oven.
I mean, that's not how we want to remember anyone. So, you want to,
It'll put me off my dinner.
Right. Yeah, and you certainly wouldn't want that on that night of all. I mean, because it's going to be spectacular.
Absolutely. It's going to be a sumptuous feast.
No, I don't know. I mean, maybe...
Have we tried?
Well,
advertising it with lingerie models.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna...
I mean, why don't we... No.
I mean, there's no, shape redesign that I can see that would maybe evoke
Well, the thing is, they don't want a shape redesign.
Yeah, we've already...
They want it to be as it is.
So, this is it, then. There's not going to be any cosmetic change to the design of this.
No, it's just erotic now.
No, Conrad, we've been over this. They're not changing it.
It doesn't make sense.
It's an adult novelty now, and we somehow have to push it that way.
Okay, I mean, we're not allowed to say it can't be done, so fine.
Let's look at what it is. Let's look at what it is we're dealing with. It's circular,
right?
Round like a areola, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
it's on a bit of string, which could be a bit like rope for sex.
So okay, yeah, there. All right,
areola on a rope.
Maybe it's a bondage thing. I mean, it's really thin for that.
It does, yeah. I feel like you can snap a string, and really the plastic on the end would just be extraneous. How the hell do you make yo-yos sexy?
I know that I'm from a certain generation, and I always just associate yo-yos with Dick Smothers. I know that they got popular again in the 90s, and as is the practice, things that were popular for a youth segment is now being resold to them. But is getting the 30-somethings back into yo-yos by sexifying them really the way to go?
Well, the difficulty for me is I associate yo-yos almost exclusively with childhood. I see it as a children's toy. And to then be charged with the task of making it an erotic plaything is something I find almost disturbing.
Gentlemen, we have to think about it this way. It is no longer a yo-yo or a children's toy.
Right.
This is a sex revolution that we're in right now. And we have to think about it that way.
It goes up and down like fucking.
I could see this.
It's so tenuous. This whole idea is so tenuous.
I like your idea of, the physical representation. I mean, we could put stickers on it, maybe. We can decorate it. We can make it flesh toned.
That's true.
We could sell them in a 2-pack with, like one of those novelty art designs to where it looks like a pair of large breasts that pop off the packaging.
Yo-yos. They're like tits.
It's
difficult. We've got to present our plan to, the yo-yo company's head, Sebastian Yo-Yo, in 3 weeks' time. And I'm running empty. Sebastian Yo-Yo is going to be very upset.
I'm at a complete loss for any idea. And I find almost everything sexy.
Oh, yeah.
I find sex in places that you would look at this pen. This pen right here. See this pen? I'm thinking of sex. I look at this pen and I can think, oh yeah, see, if I just do the little clicky thing like that, you see, yeah, that's like a penis. Boom, thrusting in and out. Sex right there. That's yo-yo. I got nothing.
Cold. It makes my penis feel cold. Like the dead. And I find the dead sexy.
So maybe we're thinking about it the wrong way. Maybe it's not the look of the device. It's what you can do with it.
Put it in a butthole.
Well, I was thinking more... You remember the tricks from the 90s? Like the kids just, walking the dog.
Oh, I remember Johans. He was a prominent yo-yo trickster in the 90s.
Maybe we focus less on the looks and more on what we're here for, the advertising. Maybe we get one of those kids in a commercial doing tricks off a stripper's back.
I see what you're saying. We get a gyrating stripper. Jezebel from, the Boston Shakes a Go-Go. We can bring her on board. I know all the girls down there. Get a kid on her shoulders or something while she's grinding on the pole and he's, doing walk the dog or cradle to grave or, the classic rum.
Yeah, and so the idea is that the yo-yo, it's not the yo-yo, it's the advertising. I mean, we're going back to basics here.
Yeah.
We're just throwing in what the people want, and they're gonna see the sweat dripping off her and him.
It's hot in that club.
And they're gonna want that feeling, and they're gonna buy the yo-yo.
Badly air conditioned.
They're gonna buy a yo-yo. That, I don't see it. I don't see adults buying yo-yos because they associate them with sex. I see no...
Look, with FistShark marketing, Conrad, they'll buy it because we tell them to buy it. And they'll buy it for the reasons we tell them. What if we just went blunt with it? You go to the Lion's Den, or, Secret Playmates, or any number of reputable sex shop, and they're just there. Right next to, you've got your cock rings, you got your double enders, you've got your 50 Shades of Grey brand handcuffs, you've got a yo-yo. It's just there on the shelf right next to the butt plugs.
And you don't think that's going to have maybe a negative effect on all the other items surrounding it as people look at the yo-yo and think, why is this here?
Have you ever bought products from a sex shop, Conrad?
No, I can't say that I have.
Let me tell you how it goes. You do not go to a sex shop regularly, no matter how much you love sex stuff, right? It's a once on a very special occasion kind of thing. They seclude themselves. In some areas, you have to go out of town to get to one. When you're in there, you make it fucking count. You don't necessarily care what's on the shelf. If you don't know what it does, you are terrified that it might do something awesome, and you're gonna put it in the basket. Because you never know when you'll be back here, and you could be missing out on some quality orgasms. I have at least a shoebox of cock rings and a trash can full of dildos. I haven't used maybe more than 10% of them, but I bought them because one glowed in the dark. That doesn't help me.
So what you're saying is maybe the greater the incongruity between that product and its possible application in sexual play, the more likely it is to be purchased just blindly?
Oh yeah, and we make it expensive. Not real doll prices, but, we could sell these for maybe $80 a yo-yo. You put that on a shelf on a sex shop for $80, and people are gonna think this has to be legitimate.
Mm-hmm. No, he's right.
They'll pop it in vaginas, they'll suck on it, they'll, tie it to a nipple and dangle it.
So what you're saying is we've been approaching this entirely wrong. All we really need to do is put the product into the market, and the market will determine a use for it?
They'll find out what it's used for, and, give it a week. I'll spend my whole time refreshing X-Hamster, looking for user videos. We'll find the best ones, and that's what it does now. And then we've got a marketing plan, like with everything, like with Robin Thicke's new album, like with Dustin Diamond's cookbook. Wait for X-Hamster to come up with a use for it.
What the hell is an X-Hamster? Jim, what is this that I received in my office today?
Huh?
Have you been imitating Bono Vox again? To other people? To our clients?
I'm confused about a few words in that sentence. Explain imitating to me.
Well, I just received a cease and desist letter from the actual Bono Vox claiming that...
The only Bono Vox.
There is only one. Mm-hmm. There can be only one. Mm-hmm. And he is very unhappy. He claims that you, or FistShark, because you represent FistShark, were using his voice to harass people.
Right. Explain where you said again.
We've been down this road a few times, Jim, where you have, suggested that Phono Vox was coming to be our client, and then it has invariably wound up being you trying to hide the fact, and totally understandably, no one holds you accountable for the fact that you haven't been able to land Bono yet, and that's fine. Nobody's upset.
I don't remember any of that. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Okay, well, here, let's, here's an example, all right? This file was included. It was a recording that was made on a voicemail. Mm-hmm. And, we'll just play it.
Hello there! It's that damn Judi Dench off James Bond. Shut up. Is your refrigerator running? Well, you better stop it from running, otherwise it'll...
Okay, so...
Bye!
Right. So that message was not you.
No. It sounded like Phono Vox, the lead singer of U2. You see, if I may be so bold.
It did sound an awful lot like the voice of Phono Vox.
Identical, I'd say. Because if I were a betting man, and I am, I would, and I will, put money on that being Bono Vox, even.
And that's the problem here, is that the actual Bono Vox is now...
So he claims.
Well, I mean, so his lawyers claim, the lawyers that represent Bono Vox, who are, may I remind you, not our lawyers. They seem to be of the opinion that this is not the voice of Bono Vox. And he's very upset because the prank calls that he has been trying to make for the last several months, nobody believes they're him.
Because they've already been pranked by this allegedly false...
It seems that way, yes.
Right, I'm going to have a look at this cease and desist. Hold on. Right. This is from Lyle and Huberstank. I do not rate their legal practitioning.
Be that as it may, you mean to tell me that this is not you on the recording?
I'm saying that this is not Bono Vox sending these letters. I dispute Lyle and Huberstank's claim.
You dispute their claim that they represent Bono Vox?
Yes. Mostly because I represent Bono Vox.
Jim, we do not represent Bono Vox for the last time. I mean, they've sent us countless recordings of...
Numerous.
You leaving messages. I mean, just listen to this one. How can you deny this is you?
Hello there! Is that Liam Neeson, star of the movie The Grey? Yeah, what's it like being Irish, you big Irish idiot? I'm supposed to be... What? You Scottish fool! Bye!
I mean, admittedly, very funny.
It's fucking brilliant. Oh god, that's fucking funny.
It is. It's a classic, but it also
Bono is.
Oh god, it does sound exactly like Bono Vox.
Bono is a card. Are you sure that these aren't? Because you're telling me that there's a fake Bono and a real Bono. Are you sure that we haven't got the recordings mixed up, and that these are just the ones that Bono himself is sending to people?
I'm absolutely certain.
What about the one that was sent to Chris Pratt?
Hang on. Let me look. Chris Pratt isn't on this list.
What?
There's no call. Chris Pratt's not named among the people that Bono's tried to call. You've tipped your hand, Jim.
Jim, did you call Chris Pratt? I was hoping to land him, and now
I didn't call Chris Pratt.
Ruined.
Who said that Chris Pratt got called?
You just now, you said Chris Pratt got called. What did you say to Chris Pratt?
What? Could you rephrase the question in a way that implicates Bono instead of me?
What did Bono Vox say to Chris Pratt?
I wasn't there, but The Edge told me that he may have said, "Hello there." I can't do the voice. Hello there. Is that Chris Pratt? I liked you in Arse Guardians of the Arse Galaxy, you big arse.
Oh, we are never, ever gonna sign him now.
Unless he respects our moxie.
FistShark Marketing is Jim Sterling, Conrad Zimmerman, and Caitlin Cook. Theme music by Ben Rama. Additional music by Alizar Chan. Our editor is Nick Malone. Get more episodes and learn how to help support the show at FistShark.com. Follow us on Twitter at FistShark for more of our exploits. Complaints can be forwarded via email to fistsharkmarketing@aol.com. And remember, there is no I in team, but there is one in profit. Goodbye.
Hello there! Is that Chris Pratt? Yeah, I really liked you in that film what you done. What was it called? Arse Guardians of the Arse Galaxy. Yeah, I saw you kissing Benicio del Toro too, you big Jesse. Bye. Bye. Bye.